Hello everyone, welcome back to Into Sports. I'm your host Evan. Today I'm talking Clippers, but before I do, please click that subscribe button. 94% of you are not subscribed. Do me a favor, quick and easy, click subscribe. But anyways, the Clippers were third in NBA title odds before the playoffs started, but they find themselves down 2-0 in the first round to Luka and the Mavericks. And they're probably going to lose this series. So whenever a team underperforms in the playoffs drastically, you find a scapegoat. Last year, it was Doc Rivers. He got fired. He got blamed for the Clippers' failures when they blew a 3-1 lead to Denver. Paul George was also a scapegoat. He was heavily criticized and even called Pandemic P for his play in the bubble. But this year, it seems the popular thing to do is make Kawhi Leonard the scapegoat. But don't blame Kawhi Leonard for the Clippers' collapse, because he's still one of the three best players in the NBA, in my opinion. Okay, yes, the Clippers are losing a series they should not lose. But that's all because of the Mavericks shooting. They can't miss. They're shooting 50% from three so far this series. And they're a team that shot it at 36% in the regular season. So part of that is a collection of guys getting hot from deep, but the other part is the Clippers are giving up wide open looks. They're making it easy for the Mavericks. First of all, they're switching everything, so Dallas is getting the matchups they like, and they're trying to trap Luka Doncic, but he's finding the shooters and the Clippers aren't rotating fast enough. So the Clippers team defense is really bad so far in this series, and the Mavs are hot. That's a bad combination if you're an LA fan. Okay, but what about Kawhi's defense individually? Oh, he's getting torched by Luka. Okay, first of all, who isn't? The guy's sensational. But the old saying is great offense beats great defense. And that's what's happening when Kawhi is on Doncic. Luka is making running threes off one leg. There's no defense for that. And Kawhi, he's not even guarding Luka most of the time anyways. In game 2, the game that everyone's talking about, Luka scored on Kawhi 3 times. 3. Now you could say you want Kawhi to guard Luka for the whole game, which I get, but if you make Kawhi run around and guard Luka for an hour on defense, he's going to be tired and not as good offensively, so he won't be able to drop 40 on offense for the Clippers. So pick your poison if you're Ty Lue. Do you want Kawhi on defense or do you want him on offense? So now that I've put that narrative to rest, that Kawhi can't defend, I was looking around about stories for Game 2, and I stumble across this headline. Kawhi Leonard is not cutting it with the Clippers. Okay. And then I look around the stories on Luka Doncic. The legend of Luka Doncic grows with masterful demolition of the Clippers. Huh. Okay. But in Game 2, the game that everyone's talking about, Luka had 39 on 29 shots. That's great. But Kawhi had 41 on just 21 shots. So can someone explain to me why Luka is now the greatest thing since sliced bread? Because of this game. But Kawhi is being exposed? That doesn't make sense to me. Kawhi, more points, less shots, but he's the problem now. Now there is 2 things, but only 2 things I can say negatively about Kawhi Leonard. First of all, he's not a vocal leader. Rondo is really the leader of the paper clips right now, and he's like their 5th best player. And if your best player isn't your leader, generally that's not a great formula for success. And the other thing is, he disappeared late in games last year in the Clippers' choke job against the Denver Nuggets. That was inexcusable. Now, is Kawhi a great passer? No. But his passing's not a liability by any means. But he load manages. That's the problem with Kawhi. I could care less whether he load manages or not. Because as long as he is healthy and effective come playoff time, I couldn't give a flying Pop-Tart whether or not he plays in a Tuesday night game in Cleveland in January. So I see two and only two deficiencies on the resume of Kawhi Leonard. It's not load managing, it's not his passing, he's not a vocal leader. To me, that's a problem. And he went missing last year against Denver in the playoffs. He deserves a large slice of blame pie for that series. But I could find two flaws in any athlete. Let's look at a guy like LeBron James, one of the two greatest players of all time and the best player in the game today. Well, he had a horrible finals against Dallas back in the day in the playoffs. Even worse than Kawhi's series against Denver. And LeBron hasn't been flawless as a leader either. Do you remember his first year in LA? The Lakers were always in the news for the wrong reasons, and they didn't even make the playoffs. So Steph Curry can't defend, and he blew a 3-1 lead in the finals. That doesn't mean he's not a top 5 player in the game. So Kawhi, his quiet nature and poor series last year against Denver does not disqualify him from being a top 3 player in my eyes. He's still a closer. Again, he wasn't a closer last year against Denver, but he still has a great mid-range game. He can still shoot the 3 pretty well, and he has great patience and assortment of moves in the paint. He's a versatile scorer. Giannis isn't a closer. Westbrook is not a closer. Kawhi is a closer. He can shoot it. He closes games. Chris Middleton closes games for the Bucks because Giannis can't shoot it. Not an issue for Kawhi. That's a strength of his game, in my opinion. He can close, although he didn't do it last year against Denver. And I know, the last calendar year, he hasn't been his greatest down the stretch, maybe not as good down the stretch of this regular season in games. But don't forget about all those clutch shots he hit to bring a title to Toronto. So Kawhi is averaging 33, 8, and 5 on 53% shooting in this series. But apparently he's not cutting it. He is not the reason the Clippers are crumbling. It's a supporting cast issue and a defense issue, not a Kawhi issue. I still have him only behind LeBron and Durant. He's still a top 3 player in the NBA today.